All right, buddy, here's the deal. I'm gonna give you a step-by-step tutorial on these ribs that I'm gonna send you. You're getting one rack. I gotta try one to make sure it's not poison. First thing I do is on the back, right in here, there's a membrane. This is a very important step for tender ribs. You gotta peel that membrane off. I already did it. I didn't think about the video till later. Then I coat it down with yellow mustard. You're not going to taste any of that mustard. It's just a binder. It holds the seasonings onto the meat. Okay, today for this batch, I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going with Hasty Bake Rub and Spice. They make pretty good ribs at their restaurant, so I thought I'd try them out. And then I give a pretty generous amount and let those sit and soak. Just kind of on both sides. You can already see I already coated this side, but you don't want to get too much, get too salty, but you also don't want to get too little. This thing has pretty good flavors. So anyway, all right, Todd, the method I use is a 2-2-1. So I'm gonna smoke it for 2 at 225. I got my Yoder going here, any pellet smoker. Warming it up. I like to warm it up about 30 minutes, get good heat soak in there. And then I'm gonna put the ribs in there and let them go for 2 hours till they get a good caramel color. I'll show you when I pull them, or put them on and pull them. All right, buddy. We're gonna put these on. So anything with smoking anything, anybody that's ever smoked anything has an opinion how to smoke something. So I'm sure somebody will see this video at some point and tell me I'm a freaking idiot, but this is how I cook, and you liked it, so we'll see what you think of these ribs. But what I do, we're gonna go ahead and switch the camera here. Okay, so ribs, zoom out. Ribs are bone side up, bone side down. So this is bone side down because the bony parts are down. That's how I like to start mine out on the smoker. I go with the top rack because I like the indirect heat. You can do bottom rack, and sometimes when I'm doing, just a whole bunch of racks of ribs, I'll use both racks. It doesn't matter. But when I wrap them, they'll go bone side up, and I'll explain all that later. But basically, I'm putting them there on the rack. We're going to let them sit there and suck up as much good smoke as you can. Again, opinions vary. I like pecan wood. It's what I like to smoke with. But today, we're smoking with a competition blend, which is hickory, mesquite. It's a bunch of the hardwoods. And that's what I used in Florida, and you really liked it. So I'm going to go with that, and we'll see you in a couple hours. All right, buddy, we're about an hour in. My rule for pellet smokers is pretty simple. If you're looking, you're not cooking. But we're gonna crack it open, make sure we're getting that color we're looking for. I might want to turn it up, I might want to turn it down, just kind of see what it's looking like. All right, buddy? All right, here we go. All right, that's what we're looking like right now. You see the beautiful smoke coming off of it. It's got that beautiful, beautiful color we're looking for. But we need about another hour to get that meat cooked. So close that lid, let the smoke do its thing. Yeah, probably one of the important things that I miss now this is when you're smoking is to have a good cold beverage. I usually drink beer, but since I'm cooking your ribs, I'm doing vodka and soda because that's, kind of one of your things. So little Tito's, little soda, and sitting by a big fire, letting things smoke. We're about 30 minutes till I do the wrapping and adding all my stuff to it. So that's kind of one of the big things, but we'll see in a minute. All right, bud. So here's what we got going on right here. I've got my setup here. These are the things I want to use to wrap my ribs with. You like, I think you like the sweeter stuff. You like that sweet barbecue sauce, so I'm going to do yours the traditional way we do in competitions. I'm actually going to do the one rack I'm cooking for myself a little different, but got your honey here. We're going to put some honey down. Your squirt butter parquet is what I use. You know, some people say use real butter, but it tends to burn. This does not. Apple juice, because, well, that makes it awesome. I use tiger sauce, which is kind of like a spicy, it's not a Tabasco, it's a different kind of sauce. Your onion powder, we're going to do all that. And then the big thing is just a good old thing of brown sugar. That's what we used in Florida that you really like. So I'm going to make yours that way. And what some people will do is they'll pull the ribs out and they'll do both sides. But I kind of cheat a little bit. And I'll just put the stuff, I'll just kind of pour everything out here on this side and kind of get it ready. And then I'll grab my ribs. And I'll put them on there. Meat side down, bones side up, just opposite of what we're cooking. You can get a little crazy with the brown sugar, I don't do like a whole lot. Just a little splash there of that, of tiger sauce. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab the ribs, rack of ribs off and stick it on there. So I'll go grab it. Woo! As you can see, they're absolutely gorgeous. The lighting's not the best, but I put the meat side down right into that mixture that I just did. Shut that grill. And then we're going to do just the exact same thing that we did. I'm going to throw some butter on it. You know, the guy that taught me how to do this always told me to always keep your meat wet. So you want to kind of keep it good and moist, but you don't want to get it too wet or it'll boil. And your ribs are pretty good, but you don't get that texture that you want out of a good set of ribs. Good tiger sauce, just a little splashy splash. Get you your onion powder. It just adds a texture to it. And then we're good to go. What I did before I started the video was I took 2 sheets of heavy duty aluminum foil, the wide kind, for each rack of ribs, because I want to wrap it. I'm going to start getting it, kind of make me a bowl here. I'm going to start to wrap it, and then I'm going to put some of this apple juice in. Not a ton. You don't want to like drown your ribs, but just a little bit to give it a little moisture. Just fill up the valley of that bone side up. And then you want to wrap them pretty tight with the 1 sheet. And then we're going to go back with the 2nd sheet, because sometimes those ribs will poke it and all your juices will come out. And you don't want that. You don't want your meat to get dry ever. Kind of my cardinal rule. And that's basically your wrapped rack of ribs right there. And we're going to stick that on for another 2 hours. Remember I said 2, 2, and 1. We're going to smoke them for 2. We're going to cook them for 2 inside the tin foil here, and then we're going to let them rest for at least 1 hour. You can let them rest longer. The longer they rest, sometimes the better they get. But we'll cover that in the next step. But I'm going to stick these back on for another couple hours, and the next time you see these ribs, we'll be cutting them. Or, well, I'll be showing them to you. I'll cut mine. Because I'm going to send these to you whole so you can cut them yourself. But that's kind of the secret. So here we go. Okay, what I'm doing here, I'm going to kind of digress. These are the set that I'm going to eat tonight, kind of the testers. I'm doing something different on mine. I'm still doing, I put the butter down before. I didn't put any brown sugar. I'm kind of in a stage in my taste buds that I don't really like the sweet. So I left out the brown sugar and the honey. I'm still going to use the tiger sauce because I like that flavor and that heat. But I'm gonna use some stuff that I make up that's got kind of a sweet heat to it. And I'm gonna re-sprinkle these real good with seasoning. And what you don't know until you get this package is I'm gonna go ahead and send these seasonings with you in case you can't get them up there on the East Coast. But I still want to get good butter on there. I still want to get good. I want to fill up some apple juice. To me, that's sweet enough. I'm going to try this. The last batch I made, I wasn't real happy with, so I want to try something different. And that's what I'm always doing. That's the thing about smoking. It's really the thing about cooking in general, but smoking in particular is, man, you try new stuff. Don't be afraid for it to suck. If it sucks, eat it anyway and do it better the next time. But I'm wrapping this up, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get a free hand. I did neglect at the first to have my gloves on when touching the raw meat. I have no cuts on my hands for the people watching this that may turn me into the National Food Handlers permit that I got in Florida. But I'm wearing my gloves now, and I'm going to put this meat on, and we're going to let it cook for 2 hours. All right, buddy, as you can see there, this is your rack right here that's got the sweetness to it that I think you're going to enjoy. I put mine on the back that I plan on eating tonight, and we're going to try that out. But basically, I keep the temperature the same, 225 to 250. It's more about look than it is time, but 2 hours is a good measure. So we're going to see you in a couple hours. Well, things have gotten a little cooler here. The good news is your ribs are still smoking, and good things are happening. We'll see you in a minute. Okay, so our 2 hours has passed. We're ready to get your meat off, put it in a cooler. You can put it in a cooler, you can put it in an oven. Some people put the oven on warm. I'm using a Cambro that I bought to try to, it keeps the meat warm, but you want to let it rest. Meat is like a sponge, so if like right now I pulled it off, started cutting it, yes, you could eat it, but all the juices will flow out of it and the meat will be dry. So we want that meat to suck that flavor back into it from the wrapping of the tin foil. Here's your ribs. They feel pretty good. I'm gonna stick them here into a pan. I'm gonna stick this other rack that I did, and then I'm gonna put it in this Cambro, and I'm gonna close it up, which you can do with any cooler or, like I said, the oven. And we're gonna let that set for 1 hour and let that meat rest. We call it letting the meat rest. And then it should be delicious after that. I'll pull it after an hour, let yours cool down, then I'll vacuum seal it, put it in the freezer, freeze it hard, and then ship it to you. And hopefully it'll taste good for you. Thanks. Action. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and cut into these ribs that I made for me. Let's go ahead and look at what you got here. Deliciousness, okay. And these are the ones I'm eating tonight. I got yours out there still resting. Looks pretty good, but you notice when you look here, you got plenty of liquid in there, and how the meat is pulled away from the bones. It's kind of what you want. I take a chopper style knife. These are St. Louis style ribs, but you do the exact same recipe for your baby backs. These seem like they're probably going to be perfect. What you want with ribs is you want them to where they do pull away from the bone if you want them to, but you can also pick one up and still see the teeth mark. I hope you enjoy them as much as I enjoy making for you, buddy. Thanks. Okay.